Oh yeah. Hello, cardboard viewers and people who've never heard of me before. I changed my intro, because if I say a certain word in our channel's name in the first 45 seconds of a video, YouTube might top deck Exodia and obliterate my channel. I'm your professionally miserable host Winkers, and I'm here to talk about the two absolutely most important things the entirety of the ARPG genre needs. You know what an ARPG is, right? Diablo, Path of Exile, Lost Ark, kind of. That one's more of an MMO. But this isn't a joke. And it's been 45 seconds. I want you fuckers to be sad you don't have these things, alright? I'm being a real bastard about it this time, and I'm doing it because I want the companies that make these games to feel bad for not giving you these features. To open with, we've got an especially dirty topic, but honestly, it's done kind of alright in these types of games. Challenges, seasonal rewards, you can call it whatever you want, but in this modern gaming age, they're all technically a battle pass. I love it, honestly. Free battle pass done well can actually enhance the game a lot and give you something to strive for. There's two problems with these systems though, and the first is FOMO. I can't play every goddamn league, and you probably can't either. It's not fun feeling like you absolutely have to get on the game and devote however many hours it takes to get that reward that looks good to you. That's for the challenges in Path of Exile at least. Karak's Vault Pass is even worse because they slap you with an upfront cost. It's one thing to try and get you playing the game, it's another to outright demand money and then create bullshit artificial scarcity when there's no fucking reason for it. Diablo 3 seasonal rewards are a bit more basic, but I'm not going to judge it for that. It's a game that wasn't really designed to have the play it forever feeling Path of Exile does, and it's fine for what it is, even if it's not my cup of lighter fluid. So what's missing? Honestly, after spelling it out, I think it's kind of obvious. Why in the world of Chris Wilson's glorious bald head can't we revisit old seasonal challenges after we finished the challenges for the current league/season? Wouldn't it be great if we could hit 40-40 and then fuck right off to the challenges for a league we didn't have time for? Obviously, this isn't the easiest thing to do, especially for Path of Exile, where challenges are often tied to specific league content that might not be available anymore. Fuck it though. This is evergreen content. If they alter challenges to work indefinitely after a league ends, it becomes something any player at any time can experience and find enjoyment in. The same thing goes for Karak's Battle Pass, honestly. Unfortunately, they charge money for it, so they can use the possibility of upset customers who bought on the promise of exclusivity to shield themselves from doing the thing that's most consumer friendly. Honestly, don't be that guy. Don't kick the ladder out so people can't experience or have what you have, alright? And before anyone thinks I'm just salty about missing something, Grinding Gear Games can shut off every damn MTX on my account if they like forevermore, if that's what it takes to show I'm not biased. I spent over $150 on the game, and stash tabs aside, it was entirely to support the company that makes the game I love. That's not a ton of money, obviously, but it's a hell of a lot more than you pay for a standard game elsewhere. I haven't spent that much money on Elden Ring. I do have to admit, though, if you did the challenges in League, there should be recognition for it that goes beyond the norm, so people can differentiate the accomplishment. This goes doubly so if some challenges would have to be changed later. I still think this is an easy fix. Alter totem pieces acquired after the league ends to be silver instead of gold. Done. You've got your exclusivity, you were there when it was current, you did it, congratulations. Pat on the back. Whatever. But enough about battle passes. Obviously, making better use of past challenges to give us more reasons to play the game is an okay idea, but what's next is the real deal. Let's be honest for a moment, not that I've been lying. Trade in ARPGs kind of sucks. Diablo used an auction house, and that's honestly a little too convenient. These games aren't MMOs the way WoW or RuneScape or, God forbid, EVE Online. Have you fucking seen EVE Online? They've legitimately used that game's economy as a reliable simulation to demonstrate supply, demand, and transportation costs in college courses. Really, that game is the gold standard in great concept, rough execution. And from what I've heard lately, it might also be the gold standard in the developers got greedy and started doing stupid things. All that MMO nonsense aside, auction houses are simple. They operate well in games that are huge because when you're dealing with an extreme volume of players, developers need to do everything in their power to smooth out the interactions between those players. ARPGs aren't like this though. They're generally a solitary experience. Growing your character is something you do with some interaction with other players, maybe a small group, but not with a greater player base at large. Believe it or not, I think Path of Exile's trade system is close to optimal. That's insanity to some people, but when you take a look at what makes it so unenjoyable, you realize there's really only a few things that gum up the experience. A trade revamp comes in two steps, and it starts with the most important one: offline trade slots. Give players some of these, probably 3 to 5, and see how quickly their frustrations about the trade system start to melt away. Big ticket items that you need to sell can create a lot of anxiety, especially if you have limited playtime. But being able to sell a few items offline means you can almost guarantee your extra valuable goodies will bring you the return you need to advance. Keeping it limited to a few slots is important so that the trade system still exists and the game's economy doesn't streamline into irrelevance. At that point, we basically would have an auction house, and then playing the game suddenly becomes less time efficient than merchanting than it already is. That's just one part of this puzzle though. With offline trade slots, we need the ability to accept trades automatically. The biggest thing the current trade system needs is the ability to accept a trade without you leaving your map. Give players the ability to agree to a trade offer, and then have the buyer pop into their hideout and complete the transaction without them there. This isn't even a particularly complex concept in theory, as we already have remove-only tabs, and a remove-only tab for currency received from trades would solve any concerns about where the money would go with players that have limited stash space. It also maintains that a player interaction needs to occur, and that there's room for players to communicate before a trade is finalized. The only issue this doesn't outright solve is people having a trade listed but no intention to sell. We've all encountered these scumbags before. They list currency-to-currency trades at a lower value, not to sell fast, but to try to trick other sellers into bringing their prices down to be more competitive. That said, this isn't always the case for people not responding. It's not uncommon for the trade API to lag behind and for people to not respond because they've already sold, but the site isn't updating their listing. This is, unfortunately, an issue only the developers can solve. Until they do, it will be hard to gauge how big a problem this even is, which is why I'm reluctant to talk too much about it. I will say, if people trying to manipulate prices with bad listings really is too cumbersome a problem, there is still an elegant solution that would solve it pretty quickly. Allow people to report if a player refuses to sell for their buyout listed price. If the buyout listed price gets reported enough, the listing gets removed, and the player has to relist the item to have it show up on the trade API again. For high volume items, this would result in bad listings getting cleared very quickly. Maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't. I don't know for sure. We're in the twilight of a very successful league right now. Gauntlet just ended. There's probably going to be events soon because we're waiting a bit longer for 3.21. But there's really nothing going on right now. I wanted to find a chance to talk about this while 3.21 approached, but not wait too long that we're all busy with pre-launch hype, because it's hard to get a message out to the community when they're focused on something else. I don't know how relevant getting more evergreen content out of the challenge system is to everyone, but I know trade is a thorn many of us want removed, and now seems like a good time to bring attention to it. Anyway, that's all. Get out of here. See you when 3.21 gets announced.